Center, and Sioux Falls making a return trip to the playoffs in the dark jerseys. Opening tip to the Skyforce.
Mentioned that Sioux Falls has had the more roster turnover, that among their key players. Westchester's added some people since they last played, but mainly off the bench.
Here's Liggins turning the corner against Trice. And
on the other end,
Jordan BACHYNSKI played the first 49 games. Off the penetration from Antetokounmpo, it is Keith Wright who opens up the scoring for the Knicks.
Keith Wright, one of those mainly defensive-minded frontline players for Westchester, but has played well down the stretch as a starter, getting a little better each game.
Rodney Magruder has worked his way into the top 25 of the prospect watch list. It's Stokes that misses from the mid-range, and the Knicks are in transition. Pull up on Antetokounmpo.
Well, that's not normally TA's shot, only shooting just over 20% from deep, but he has hit it better during the second half of the year.
Antetokounmpo has only played one time against Sioux Falls. He was called up to the New York Knicks during 3 meetings. Off the turnover, Trice to Fredette, a 3, rattled in.
Well,
Sioux Falls early in the first quarter. Keith Wright against a smaller defender gets to the rim for 2.
And Keith Wright, normally not known for his scoring, only averaging about 7 or 8 points a game, but as you said, David, he noticed the big mismatch, so you have to take advantage, and he did.
Liggins, pocket pass on the bounce to Stokes. He is so nimble at 6'7", 250. And he 4 minutes deep. Here's Fredette. Awkward release, no good. Antetokounmpo on the offensive glass.
And for our NBA fans watching at home, well, they should be aware that Antetokounmpo, like Fredette, like Stokes, had a 10-day contract with the New York Knicks earlier this year.
Magruder in the corner, no good. And that was Trawick with the loose ball foul pushing right as the Knicks reclaimed as
much of. Well, that from here in Westchester, in the northern part of the metropolitan area, just north of New York City. Averaging about 15 a game off the bench. Stokes with position.
Maneuvers underneath the basket and takes BACHYNSKI one-on-one for 2.
Good footwork to get around the 7'2" Jordan BACHYNSKI.
By scoring the first 8 points of the contest, Sioux Falls has come storming back as the defense is tightened. Liggins is able to clear the Darion Atkins miss. Backdoor Liggins gets by James for the easy lay-in.
And you see right there, BACHYNSKI had to come out to respect the perimeter ability of Stokes, left the paint open.
First. James on the skip pass, takes a rhythm dribble and misses the 3. Bubu Paulo wants to run, but the Knicks transition D is present, except they miss Trawick going backdoor.
And a beautiful pass by Stokes. We keep mentioning his name, and why not? He can do it all, and that time with the Jordan Crawford right there, number 1 of the game for Westchester. Only 5'6", but he can really play.
22-6 run for the Skyforce. BACHYNSKI lunges in and left it short. Now it's Stokes, the big man, leading the break for the one-handed hammer.
How about that handle at 6'7" and 255, and Mike Miller of Westchester, who's never shy of.
Awkward release, hits a 2 falling away with Joey Waller, David Resnick, our entire ESPNU crew here in White Plains, New York, as we kick off the 2016 D-League playoffs.
2 starters for Westchester, Trice and BACHYNSKI scoreless. Jordan's in there now, needs to get it going.
Greg Winnington off the bench and in the scoring column, the 6'8" product from George Spin. Season, 56 games overall as an NBA pro, earning a 10-day contract last year with Washington, but has not found his way back to the association this season. Jordan BACHYNSKI patient on the block.
And finally, Jordan here, a couple of minutes into the second quarter, gets into the scoring car.
And as quickly as Westchester finally finds the cup, Briante Weber, the other
situation, though I think to a large degree continues to be a mystery as to why no team has given him that shot. He's put up the numbers here in the D-League, averaging over 21 a game.
over 90% from the free throw line, #1 in the D-League for Fredette, who earned a single 10-day contract with the New York Knicks earlier this season. He also got called up by New Orleans at the start of the D-League. Circling, shovels it, BACHYNSKI having Benson pinned on his back, and he scores.
And BACHYNSKI's a guy we've discussed during the season, Dave, the fact that we wonder why he hasn't gotten more of a shot in the NBA. Guy's 7'2", and he can play.
Briante Weber weaving through to Keith Benson. One-handed no, follows his own miss.
And too easy off the offensive glass that time. BACHYNSKI, the only white.
And Fredette have been called up to the NBA from the NBA D-League. And Dan Craig wants timeout. The lead trimmed victor of the main Canton series. And we'll have updates throughout the evening on that. And there is one with Maine on the road up by 10. And interestingly, Joey, Westchester in our game, the lower seed, 3.
Well, Westchester actually, as BACHYNSKI is able to power one home. Westchester actually, very unusual at this level, has a better record on the road than they do at home.
They split a pair of meetings in South Dakota as part of the 4-game season series. Whittington has already hit one, and another one falls from deep.
Making with the gyrations after putting the all-around game as they're up 14 again.
James open for 3. Left the answer short. Rebound tracked down Fredette. Early in the shot clock, it's Trice.
Well, a short time ago, BACHYNSKI finally scored for the first time. Now Trice does the same. Normally, they get off to a much quicker start.
It's 3 triples for Greg Whittington off the bench here in the second quarter.
And so it continues to rain threes for the Skyforce, 5 of 8. Knicks an uncharacteristic 3 of 5. They're one of the worst shooting three-point teams in the league. The fact that they're overcoming that tonight doesn't matter because of the way Sioux Falls is shot.
Knicks are the worst in terms of made.
The fact that the Knicks are 3 of 5 from 3. The fact that they're shooting an even 50% from the floor. So with their more modest, capable though modest offensive attack, Westchester's got to be fueled on the defensive end where they excel.
10 on the timer, past the midway point of the second quarter. Knicks led 8-0, and then it's been all Sioux Falls. Benson rolling to the basket, takes the contact, and one.
Well, that time, to say the least, for Sioux Falls, and they continue to play her offensively. Still not a great rebounder for his size, but a guy that I think you could easily plug in as a third center in the NBA. And of course, if you're a third center, you're just one injury away from being the backup center.
Stokes back in, BACHYNSKI with the defensive assignment. Stokes gets the friendly roll off the iron.
And does it against the 7'2" BACHYNSKI despite the big height.
The last 48.
And so thanks for reminding me, they start 0-2 and then begin 22-4 en route to the 40-10 record as Stokes goes to the bucket. Isn't that how some NFL coaches have gotten started? Working for free, breaking down the video?
It's all about cutting tape. Just make sure the good stuff isn't on the editing room floor, right?
Of course, fortunately now, there's not a lot of actual cutting since it's done on computer. Had been an assistant for the Austin Spurs, who are the D-League affiliate of the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, when you come from Camp Greg Popovich, you would expect nothing less than a great job.
Although I think he's been kind to you throughout the season with halftime interviews, no?
Oh.
Stokes with the left hand.
None better. None better. None better.
The lead back to 12 after Westchester cut it to 10. Trice maneuvering his way on the baseline, and it's collected by Trawick. Stokes, baseline. Continuation for a chance at three.
It was the New York Knicks, and you got to look there for a moment at some of the New York Knicks players who are in attendance. They could easily slip out at halftime, probably few would notice, but even when the great boxing champ Floyd Money Mayweather was here courtside earlier this year, I was watching him. He was here the whole game.
Stokes picks up the loose ball. Weber leads in against BACHYNSKI. Offensive foul as the
out of his face, but look at me, huh? Big alarmist, trying to be dramatic. Boy, in recent years for going from the D-League to starring in the NBA, then the Heat's Hassan Whiteside.
BACHYNSKI on the follow.
And close to a goaltend, but BACHYNSKI able to get it to go, move Westchester to within 13.
Hassan Whiteside, of course, playing for the Miami Heat, the parent club of Sioux Falls. Whiteside, a D-League veteran, but spending most of it. Jimmer Fredette, we just saw there, began the season on a 10-day contract with New Orleans.
Well, and so after a fast start, Antetokounmpo slowing down. He does have 9 points and 4 boards, but aside from Fredette, come the second half, looking ahead, David, someone is going to need to step up offensively for Westchester, really more than a someone. Need to be more of a team effort.
Trawick against Antetokounmpo. It's out of bounds to the Knicks. And on the prior possession, change ends to start the third quarter. 13-point advantage for Sioux Falls. The miss rebounded by DeAndre Liggins.
Jimmer Fredette starting this third quarter despite playing with the 3 fouls, as is Thanasis Antetokounmpo, also with 3.
Antetokounmpo, a rebound in traffic. Fredette picked up his third foul, second. Trice around the screen, gets into the paint. The finger roll is through.
And Westchester can certainly use more of that. Trice was quiet in the opening half. And as for Antetokounmpo, getting back to him for just a moment, folks, if you're wondering, is he related to the Greek Freak? Well, he is. The Greek Freak is no freakier than that man Stokes, who continues to burn Westchester. Of course, we're talking about.
On the reset to Trice, it was deflected to a wide open Keith Wright, lays it in.
And I would be surprised if Westchester doesn't make at least one run to make this a ball game, David. All year we've seen with this Knick team that they are rarely out of one.
Over Fredette, Paolo with the miss. A chance to cut it to single figures. Trice on the move. BACHYNSKI. 2 minutes gone by, second half. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Stokes spinning on BACHYNSKI, draws the help, and scores plus the foul.
Well, not enough. As high as 29, he can now get to 20.
Rounds a contest. He pushes the advantage back to 14 by completing the three-point play. The lob is too strong, good backside defense. Here comes Stokes, acting as a point forward across the timeline.
Yeah, Trawick able to get his hands on it, now on the offensive end.
Gets into the paint, but traveled.
And you know, you mentioned the numero uno in this league. Has not really done it off the backboards, but just keeps scoring at will. Not work out for him. Sometimes that's the case. Guys find that they don't fit in, either basketball-wise or off the court for some reason, and they make their way back, and there's often a spot for them here in the D-League.
Liggins to Magruder, matched up against Antetokounmpo. Driving baseline to find Trawick, who is hammered.
So Westchester down a dozen. Chance for Sioux. When those big hands get on the basketball in good position, he's able to finish. And of course, not a lot of men his size can necessarily do that consistent.
Down to 11, a chant of defense from the home Westchester crowd.
Crowds have been good here. If Westchester gets close, they'll be into it.
Over the shoulder pass to Magruder. Beautiful cut to the rim.
And DeAndre Liggins with the feed. So Liggins coming up with his 7 assists. That's his season average, number 4 in the league.
7:50 to go, third quarter. Fredette using the screen, low dribble. High teardrop is through.
And anybody that says Jimmer is just a shooter, well, you saw evidence to the contrary there.
Wraparound pass, Stokes. Liggins to Stokes, a deadly combination.
6'7", 255. Is he a 4? His career when his playing days ended. 8 deals in front of that man. The only 2 with more ever. They're both from Providence. John Linehan, Eric Murdoch. What are the odds of that?
Backhanded feed inside. BACHYNSKI couldn't reach for it. Extra pass, Whittington. Ball is loose and Weber is there.
Hot potato goes to Sioux Falls. That epitomizes their big day.
High screen, Ben ran out of seconds.
Well, off the overplay against James, has led Westchester to the playoffs after the 2nd worst record in the D-League in their first year of existence. But today, it has been Sioux Falls in front throughout the game.
Knicks just a half a step, a half a second short. On the kick out to Weber, he drives in for the shorter pull-up, no. 40 ticks to go. Knicks ball, they can hurry for a 2-for-1. Benson.
So we talked about the fact that in the season series between these two, as Crawford commits yet another Westchester foul, their 3rd in less than a minute. On Westchester's way, handing Sioux Falls 3 of their 10 losses, but so far, Sioux Falls has kept Westchester from really having any sustained period of several minutes where they've been good on both ends.
Here comes James, eyeing the rim. He dribbled it off of his foot.
The wins belong to LA. The D-Fenders, D-Fenders.
James misfires. BACHYNSKI outraced by Whittington.
Both teams inept on the offensive end to start the 4th.
Liggins with the mismatch against Crawford. Magruder, high shot, straight through.
And beautiful ball movement. That's the kind of thing we've seen from Sioux Falls, not so much for Westchester.
And a loose ball foul as the Sioux Falls defense, and that's what the Skyforce has done the entire year, just coming at you in waves with relentless defense and solid offense. Benson inside.
Like these two, like Maine, which won the Atlantic Division, they play good team ball. Team ball works in basketball in any league. Like these two, like Maine, which won the Atlantic Division, they play good team ball. Team ball works in basketball in any league.
Magruder left it short. Weber, offensive rebound for Sioux Falls.
Of course, Stokes, while all this is happening, getting a nice long breather on the bench.
Weber on the move. Deflected by Trice to James. Weber stole it back. 2 on none for Magruder.
Or I did anyway, and how good a player he was at this level, and wondered why he hasn't gotten to the next level. He's a guy who's both physical, tough, but can also score. Takes a lot to make it to the NBA, even as one of the last roster spots. That's the kind of combination you need.
DeAndre Liggins just shielding off Kevin Capers and then hits the jumper.
And doing a lot of talking in the direction of Mr. from Division II. Well, you can make it here in the D-League, and of course, that puts you just a step away.
Inside of 8 minutes to go, Westchester here at home trailing as Sioux Falls looks to take a 1-0 games lead in this best of 3, with the series shifting back to Sioux Falls for game 2 and 3. Good contest by the Knicks. Here's Capers on the run. Pull up 2, draws the foul.
Will doing it right here. Capers to the line, moving his team within 13.
Capers, the 9th player to play for Westchester this evening. 9 players have come into the game for the Skyforce. Each team carrying 10 active players for this Eastern Conference semifinal game 1. Liggins with a great fake and then a bullet pass inside for an easy 2. Briante Weber.
You say easy 2 for Sioux in half of the ones they missed.
Atkins on the baseline, no. Benson elevates high over Capers for the defensive rebounds. And the speedy Skyforce will take its time over midcourt. Winnington spinning off the glass with the offhand. 99-83, midway through the fourth. Sioux Falls answers with a running layup.
Trice has put together a decent game now, 15 points, but possibly too little too late. The three main cogs for Westchester, Trice, BACHYNSKI, and of course Fredette, just have not done enough as a group today. Fredette doing it in spurts, offensive Friday at 8, and if necessary at name the higher seed there.
The charge coming from behind to defeat the Red Claws at home, and it was Canton that took 3 of 4 against Maine. Two-time All-Star for the New York Knicks, and after injuries derailed his career in his 30s, transitioning to a front office position,
well,
guiding Westchester to the playoffs in year number 2.
Sorry, David, guess who just returned for Sioux Falls? Jordan's had a solid game, 16 points, 5 rebounds, but I think they needed more from him and more consistently today to make Stokes work harder, as I said earlier, has not taken place.
Into Stokes, spinning and scoring.
So that not what the Knicks need, just exchanging buckets.
3:40 left, pull front of the iron. The rebound down to Boo Boo Paulo.
Haven't seen Paulo for a while, but Boo Boo will slow it down. And again, why not? Clock is a friend of the Skyforce. The force is with them, and so is time.
Sioux Falls over the century mark, looking for more with 6 on the timer. Magruder, a 3. Yes, sir.
Rodney Magruder is one of the great three-point shooters in the D-League. We're having to.
Sioux Falls lead trimmed to 13 with Kevin Capers made field goal in the paint. Trice, backcourt defense against Paulo. Up ahead, Liggins.
So they play keep away, work the clock.
9 on the timer. Paulo, a wide open paint. Defense collapse, allowing Stokes to get in on the offensive glass. And he
long rest here.